broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I knew. You might as well just be like doing like the sprinkler. I love it.
This is an OG dance. People
Sure.
know.
Do it, Adam, do it.
They see me trolling.
Yeah! That's the whole reason we picked that song. Welcome, AfterBuzzers, to another edition of Face Off Season 8. This is Episode 6, Troll Bridge. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Also check us out on iTunes and SoundCloud by searching AfterBuzz TV. We have over 400 shows for you to check out. It's pretty awesome. Also, be sure to check us out on Twitter. Tweet us using the hashtag ABTVFaceoff. I'm your host, Alana Jordan. You can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan. And today I am joined by the amazing
Aaron. You can find me on Twitter at _AAMO music.
Every time.
No, I'm gonna get it right one day.
I was really feeling it this time. I was like, oh, he's gonna nail it this time.
Nope.
It's never gonna happen.
If you're a first-time listener, Aaron never says his name correctly. Every week.
Oh my word. I'm Alexis Torres, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at atorres890.
And I'm Emma Fyffe. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Emma Fyffe.
And today we are super excited. We are joined by some familiar faces, and then also, hey, Logan. So we have Adam, Jamie, and Logan here. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So this was a really cool episode. I really, really dug this challenge that they had. It was all inspired off of different bridges, real life bridges. They had to create
I love how you sang that a little bit. Real life.
Real life, not pretend.
And then at the end, all the creations did a musical.
Because why not?
Which season is this?
But yeah, they had to create trolls based off of all of these different bridges.
Yep.
And they also had one of my personal favorite actors as well, Doug Jones.
I know.
Was brought on, which was extra awesome. He's, of course, from Pan's Labyrinth and Hellboy. He was on The Neighbors, played one of the neighbors. And he actually wanted to join us, but was unable to make it this week because we can officially announce he is going to be Jake Simmons, Deathbolt, on Arrow. So congratulations, Doug.
That's cool.
You didn't hear that?
No, I don't. I don't even watch Arrow. I know the characters.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's cool.
So I'm excited to see him.
Doug also like Hocus Pocus.
That's what I was going to say.
I was going to say, anybody want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus.
I was actually trying to explain to my mom who Doug Jones was, and I was like, Mom, do you remember the movie Hocus Pocus? She was like, yeah.
Yep. Well, he not only judged, but it was kind of an extra cool element. He helped the models, kind of coached the models, so we got to see more of the models, which I liked a lot.
Yeah, and I thought it was just a cool little throw in there because I feel like sometimes it's usually up to the contestants, right, to tell what they're supposed to do, but it was kind of nice to get someone as amazing as Doug to tell them like exactly. I love how he was just like fully animated. Like I feel like he's not even a real person. Like the way like he moves and stuff, right? Now is that just me?
Yeah, well, the models on their own are very good at figuring that out for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Having Doug Jones there was exceptionally impressive. I don't know. I'm going to let you go on. I have my own input on
I want to hear
That's
this
why
now.
you're here.
Yeah,
I want to hear
you
your
have to share
input.
now.
Just go.
I just jumped off the diving board, I guess. But so Doug approaches my model, Sydney Schaefer, and she's got this beak. She's wearing a crow's face. Maybe we'll see it later if you've seen the episode already. You know what she looks like.
We'll see it later, too.
He doesn't maybe have all the information going into that about... I know Doug knows what he's talking about. He's a master at what he does. He's the master. But it's a troll. It's not a bird. And he gave her some gestures that were very bird-like, and that made me a little nervous at first. I was trying to actually steer away from the bird a little bit because it was so bird-looking. But he told her to flap her wings and.
But there was still a remnant of his direct. Like she still went with his direction on stage, though, which sold your
That's
character.
good.
Yeah,
That's good.
The feathers were moving.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I
guess.
mean, we'll talk more about it when we get to it, but it does look very bird-like, even though it is a troll, and I think that it worked as a troll, but I think that it would not have worked as a character if you hadn't, like, acknowledged with the model's movements in some way, shape, or form that, like, it looks kind of like a bird.
Oddly enough, wouldn't be good as a bird.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a good bird.
That's what's so difficult. It seems like with this challenge, especially with the input that Race was giving, like reinvent the troll. And so there's that fine line of thinking outside of the box versus going too far outside of the box, which unfortunately happened this episode. But then there's, you nail it. You add in those bird elements and you say, that's a troll, but it makes sense with the story. It is a cohesive character and it looks great.
Yeah.
So that's such a fine line to teeter, but how...
It was also weird because if you look at the way trolls have been designed in the past 10 years with everything from video games and movies,
Totally.
like trolls aren't trolls. And there's such a wide visual definition for it.
I kind of agree that there isn't just like a single visual definition of what a troll is. I mean, maybe back in the day when they were like first drawing Dungeons and Dragons manuals, there was like one widely accepted troll, but like nowadays it's true. Like you have this whole spectrum of like what is considered a troll. So even though I do think that Race's coaching was a little misguided, which he admitted, on basically telling his team like don't go for the big bulbous nose and like what people expect to see with a troll, it's kind of like, well, what do people expect to see with a troll nowadays?
Well, Adam, you were safe. I'm like, there's
nothing else to say.
Perfectly. You were safe, so obviously you did well. You got the look of the troll down. I loved this one.
Yeah.
I thought it looked great. So you had the Dragon Bridge.
Yes.
In Bali.
In Bali.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about.
Well, I have a background in just Asian aesthetics and stuff like that, so I felt comfortable doing it, and I knew I could do a quasi non-traditional troll and still have it make sense with it being exotic and Far East and everything. But it was funny when Mr. Westmore comes around and he asks us what our concept is, and he goes, "So what's your concept based on?" I'm like, "Well, there's an old legend in Bali that if a bridge is built over the body of a fallen warrior, he's reborn through the bridge and then destined to protect it." And he goes, "Oh, wow, that's cool." I'm like, "I just made that up." And he's like, I believed it. Just stick with that. So I went with that, and then I didn't want to go deliberate dragon, and I just kind of wanted to meld just different things. He's actually heavily inspired by Master Kame from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, I totally see that.
I knew it.
So so he's turtly. But yeah, and it's pretty much where I was going.
I thought he was really turtly too, but like in a good way. Like I wrote down about your makeup. I was like, it kind of looks like the new Ninja Turtles, like from the new movie of Ninja Turtles, but in the best way possible. Like not in a bad way.
We were hanging out with Regina, and that's her main comment was like, "You made a Ninja Turtle." You made a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, it's like an ancient samurai Ninja Turtle.
Never mind. I'm not even going to continue that. Keep that one to myself.
Well, I dig it. And I think it looks really good. And Stephanie was also safe. She's Team Laura, and she had the Corvin Castle Bridge in Transylvania. This was an interesting look. I kind of wish that we could have seen a little bit more of it.
I agree. I think she was somebody that was sort of glossed over this week, since I feel like they usually will like really focus on the person who ends up being the top look, and they really focus on the person who ends up being the bottom look, and you can kind of tell who's going to be safe throughout the episode, particularly this sort of early on in the competition. Obviously, they're able to spend more time on each individual person as we go on, and there are less people to focus on. But at this point, watching it, you're like, the people who they don't pay that much attention to, you're like, all right, they're going to be safe. And I definitely felt that way about Stephanie this week, though I do really like this makeup. Elena, when we were watching this on Tuesday, we had the exact same reaction, was that it looks like a World of Warcraft troll.
Okay, good. I wasn't the only one, because when I was watching this by myself, I was just like, is that a WoW character?
It does. It looks like a deviation of the Murloc creature.
I think that's a very screen-ready, like, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
definitely.
Yep, it could have been in one of those Peter Jackson films for sure. Yeah. I was a fan.
How we were talking before about cinematic quality.
Absolutely.
And having a creature that you see and you say, okay, I want to know what it's going to do, what it's going to say, how it's going to interact. You want to know more about the story. So I think she did a really good job on this one.
I liked it.
Someone else who did a good job, and we're glad that you're here, Logan.
Thank you.
You had the Golden Gate Bridge.
I did.
Hey, look.
We told you you'd see him.
So we talked a little bit about this one already, and kind of how you were going not so much for the bird-like element, but just incorporating, because it's like the crows of San Francisco.
Right.
Right? And I like how it's kind of burned.
Okay, so I had a couple themes going with this. At first glance, San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge was not the obvious choice. It wasn't very troll-looking.
Agreed.
It's a very modern bridge. But I also, at a moment, remembered that San Francisco burned to the ground, something I could run with.
Yep.
I remembered in college, I don't remember where I came across this, but there's a tribe called the Yakuts. They inhabited the Pacific Northwest, and they worshipped ravens and crows. I couldn't remember which. But it just seemed like this amalgamation of the two different stories could really make a cool character. So that's where we get this character.
So in other words, you had like a real story that you were basing yours off of, unlike Adam, who just made something up.
Yeah, this guy.
There you go.
But did so convincingly.
Most of history's fake.
So she had a burned skin. She lurked through the streets of San Francisco as it burned, and then wore the raven skulls for worship.
It's funny that you brought that up, because I lived in San Francisco for a good 5-6 years, and when I saw your troll, the first thing I thought of when I thought of crows is how death is a big thing, and when you think of the Golden Gate Bridge, you think of all the suicides.
That's true.
So that was the first thing I thought. I was like, oh wow, I would have never thought of putting that together. So, and I was like, I don't know if that's what he went for, but that's what I got from it.
Well,
and
she's pretty dark, isn't she? But
well, I like that. I mean, a lot of people see it as like this beautiful, structure, but a lot of people don't understand how much history went into it. And I did think about the fact that she was burned. I was like, okay, so you probably got that from the fires as well. So I like this one the most, besides, Jamie's, because the fact that it just brought back all. I mean, I'm not trying to play favoritism, but I'm just saying that it was the
You're
first thing
almost
that.
as good as Jamie.
it's okay. I can live with that.
That's not what I was trying to say. Damn.
It's a well-deserved win.
But yeah, that was the one thing that it made it. That's what I thought of, and I thought it was really cool.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome.
Yeah, I really like this one as well. I think it was really effective. And Emma was saying, we were talking about it, how it seems even though like there might be even makeup underneath the mask as well. I mean, like that skull. Yeah, it's just really awesome. I don't know why it wasn't top.
Yeah.
I was looking at it and I was just like, that's really, really cool. It's inventive. It's creative. It looks beautiful. It looks like it would come out right out of a movie. It didn't look hokey or anything. It looked awesome.
You run sort of a risk by sculpting in the mask, which is supposed to be sitting on the outside. It's a delicate line.
Yeah, but I do think that you did so extremely effectively. Like, it's like Aaron was saying, it's like, even though, I knew that the bird face, essentially, the skull was sculpted onto the actual face, and that if you were to take it off, you couldn't because it was all attached. But it didn't really look like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it looked like there was stuff going on underneath, and I thought it was very successful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then even if you did take off the mask, that would probably be like later on in the film or as a big reveal. I don't know. It was just really cool.
Yeah. Totally. And
Well, thank you.
Another one that we keep having. Our criteria is very different from the judges, apparently, because we have our like checklist. We go down for each one, and then the judges will say something. And we're just like, where did they get that?
Yeah, like didn't V say something this week about this one like being too red, like the blood part on it being too red?
Not even gonna touch that.
Two episodes ago, she was like, "I love the."
Yeah.
I know. Make up your mind.
They keep you on your toes on purpose. Julian also was safe this week. Team Laura had the Corvin Castle Transylvania, another one. I liked this.
This seemed pretty
one.
traditional to me.
It had all the troll elements, the pot belly and the kind of troll face.
Yeah. I liked it. When I was thinking back on everybody's work this week, I couldn't remember this one. I think it's good. I think it looks like a troll. I just didn't find it to be a terribly memorable makeup.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know.
I do like the anytime there's a prop added as well.
Yeah, that's
like
what I was gonna say. I'm like, I really like the spear.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He made the head, right?
He did.
The head that's on the
he made
spear.
the head.
That was honestly the only thing I could remember about it. I was like, oh yeah, there was like a head on a spear, and then
Well, that was going off Vlad the Impaler and everything.
I liked his
Which
idea.
is a vampire, not a troll, but
Well, yeah.
Transylvania.
But it's in Transylvania,
That's
so
true.
it's like a vampire troll.
It's true. I'm pretty sure.
Wow, we're
Trollpire.
getting into some weird stuff there.
I'm fairly certain that both he and Stephanie said something about their trolls being like servants of Dracula.
where else can you go with that though? Like almost nowhere.
Yeah,
you have to sort of go with the Dracula.
Yeah, well, I mean, Transylvania and Dracula are pretty much synonymous, so.
And there's no rule that this has to be, if you're looking at the fictional film that this is in, that it has to be the main character. It could be a cool looking secondary character that maybe doesn't have, that is a servant to whoever they have. So I really liked it.
Josh Ostergen. Sorry. I don't know what's going on there. Go ahead.
Oh, flashback. It's all right. Then Darla was also safe this week. This is when she had the Python Bridge, Amsterdam.
I'm sorry, Darla. You're cool and all, but I didn't like this one as much.
This is one that I thought should have been in bottom looks. That was not.
I 100% agree. Nope, wasn't
No,
bottom
this
looks.
one was safe.
Oh wow, my brain just went automatically
Isn't
at
that
the bottom
surprising?
look. Yeah, I didn't like this one at all.
Yeah, I find the nose sculpt on it was really, really weird. It was like a big bulbous head, and it was all just kind of muddy and gray, and I didn't really get troll or...
Reminds me of the Goombas from the Super Mario movie.
Yeah, except its head is like 8 times the size of the
Yeah,
Goombas
like,
in the Super
seriously.
Mario movie.
It's so creepy.
It's like bobblehead Goomba. Kind of.
Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And also, this you can't see on the photo we used, but I felt like when there was a close-up, there was like a huge seam between the face and the cowl.
Yeah, it was really obvious.
Yeah.
It was like a clear, almost straight line. It's just like, okay.
Nothing against her because all of the artists are on the show because they're talented.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So always going back to that. But this makeup I thought was one that I feel I was personally very surprised it wasn't bottom looks. I feel it was one of the least impressive of the season thus far.
Yeah,
I agree.
totally.
Well, let's look at some that made it to bottom looks, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Rob, Team Race, he had the Tower Bridge. And this one I actually thought was kind of cool. I can see why it would be potentially bottom looks because...
Yes.
I mean, I liked his story too, and
Yeah.
that whole I don't know.
I did
thought
like
it
the
was
story
nice.
about the prince who became a troll,
troll.
which makes it a little more sense since it is very human-esque.
Yeah, and
in
that's
the
what he was
body,
going
and then
for.
just the troll. So
Yeah, it was just kind
it
of
could
the
go
safe
either
route.
way. Yeah, with that story, I think that story works, and I think that that character tells that story. It's just not as engaging a story as one that may have had more work on the actual body instead
Yeah.
of the face.
Well, and the biggest criticism that the judges seem to have of it was that the sculpt was rough. But they all agreed that the paint job was amazing. And I mean, I honestly felt like the face sculpt was not too bad. but the cowl was it was a little awkward. I thought the shape that he gave the head was a little bit awkward, but I don't know. I did like this makeup though, and I think that one of the other sort of big maybe turnoffs for the judges about this makeup is that kind of, as you were saying, rough transition of like the work on the face to he's wearing like a person outfit.
I would have switched this and Darla. I would have.
No, absolutely. This for me is definitely safe
with
over her.
Their other decisions, but I feel like this one in particular should have been safe, and that Darla should have been on the bottom instead.
Yeah, because Darla's didn't even look like a troll. If anything, like that was just like a.
It looked like a tadpole.
Looked like a fish.
I mean,
sorry, let's calm down. Sorry,
bad. But I want to ask because Adam and Logan, you guys are. Yeah, you're buddies with Ben. You know, you are part of his crew. What was your feeling about Ben's makeup? Because like I thought it looked.
Wait, Ben
or
Rob?
Rob.
Oh my gosh, I'm 7 years
Buddies
ahead.
with Ben too.
I mean, Ben is great, but he's not. He's on Jamie's team. Three letter names, guys.
My headphone flies off. I like Rob's. Rob stylistically has this, I want to say, an inherent vein of Princess Bride in all of his work.
Yeah. Is that what the costume kind of reminded me of?
I think that's why I liked it so
Yeah.
much. Now that you say that.
So you can see what influenced Rob and what he gravitates towards.
Yeah.
And I thought it was, I don't know, I liked it. I thought like he made me worry. I was like, oh, mine's not like that. Like, because his paint job was amazing on it. I think it was just, it's one of those things with each competition. You know, the judges are also looking at concepts.
Yeah.
And you really don't know if they're gonna want you to go really dynamic in concept or stay really traditional. And this was one of those. I mean, from all the top and bottom looks, you really didn't know what they wanted.
Yeah.
Like, because one of the tops was really high concept. The other top was traditional. One of the bottoms was high concept, and one of the bottoms was traditional.
Yeah.
So I guess it was. I don't. You have no idea what they're gonna appeal to. So.
I think what was important about that was Rob had a concept that he was really excited about.
Yeah.
From the moment he started, I could tell he was excited about this troll, and I think it rubbed off on the judges. Anyway.
Yeah.
Emily went really high concept. She had the Golden Gate Bridge. This one, I understand why its bottom looks, because it doesn't look like a troll. It doesn't seem to meet not just our criteria, but any of the criteria.
What I got from this was, since it was very kind of rocky, it kind of reminded me of like if it was like a volcano, kind of like goddess, guardian kind of thing. Like it should be like if we were doing like states or something, or countries.
And I almost feel like if that had been the challenge, if it was like make a creature inspired by this volcano, then like this could have been top looks. It's a really nice paint job. But
she was inspired by the sunset, if I remember.
Yes, that's what she said.
It was a girl jumps off the bridge at sunset and like melds with the rocks and
I got the concept. I just I don't know.
That's the thing. I think it's a beautiful work, but because it doesn't seem troll-like at all to me, it is not even in the right challenge. It's It's one that she should have saved and done something completely different for this, and kept that idea tucked away.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
her model was really cute. Interacting with. Doug Jones. I'm not doing well tonight, guys. Names.
It's the bandana. It's too tight. It's not your fault.
I thought it was the vodka.
Okay. She takes a sip. All right.
Cheers, y'all.
Anthony was our final bottom look. He had the Helix Bridge in Singapore, and unfortunately, this is the one that did send him home. It wasn't that impressive, so I understand the whole concept of it's like the troll in a rainforest and then wakes up modern day, and like blends with the bridge. was just a lot going on.
I felt like Glenn was. I mean, I don't know how everybody else felt, but I felt like Glenn was super harsh on him just a little bit. They're just like just ripping on them.
Well, it was interesting too because when they were looking at it, because I actually think the sculpt on this is nice. I think he did a nice job on the sculpture. Do I think the concept was a little confused? Yeah. And again, it's the same sort of thing that happened with Alan and Stephanie's makeup when they were bottom looks and Alan ended up going home, where they had this cool concept of, you know, the jowls containing like venom sacs. And with his, he wanted him to be, basically his concept was that his troll had fallen asleep under the bridge back when Singapore was a rainforest, and he woke up in this crazy modern Singapore society, and he's like adapting to fit that society. And while his sculpture sort of reflected that, he didn't do anything with the color to like make that differentiation. In fact, when the judges were looking at it, it was Doug Jones who pointed out like, oh no, look, it's morphing. Like, look, he had an idea.
He's so adorable.
I know.
You know, if they had done a different setting to this one, it could have been good. Like if they had done like a Buddhist temple and this is the stone statue that comes out and comes alive.
Yeah.
Then it's a lot cooler.
I totally agree, Steven. I think that this actually is a nice makeup, just not for this bridge.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, it doesn't quite line up.
And I agree that if you wanted to show some sort of difference in time where he woke up out of the bed or something, all it would take was a different color.
Yeah.
You know, the sculpture, as you said, is good, but if it were brown on one side and blue on the other, it would have done a world of difference for him.
Absolutely.
But wasn't the reason he picked the colors was because you really wanted to like see the transition or something? I couldn't remember why he picked the colors.
It didn't work though.
Yeah,
I feel like
I know.
if you look at it and you say, "Oh, this isn't reading as a transition," that's when you go, "Let's do something real quick and fix it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but then that's also you guys you're fighting the clock the whole time, so. It's one of those things where you never know. Should you?
Well, do you go out there with, hey, this is a good idea, but it's not done, or here's the wrong direction, but it's a fully finished makeup.
Yeah,
you don't. At that point, you don't know what's going to keep you safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or do you change your concept at the end and go, "Yep, meant to do that."
And then just tell a very convincing story and say that it is fact.
It's a transition now.
Oh god. Oh dear.
So we will be sad to see Anthony go because he's very sweet and we like him a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand.
Well, and I mean at this point too, like this was his third or fourth bottom look. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking, Jamie's doing a 3. So yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, it was third.
There's still some debate as to whether it was 3 or 4, but he, I mean, you know,
at this point, Jamie, she knows.
At this point, you have to take total body of work into consideration, and so unfortunately, I think even he knew being in the bottom again, he was going home.
Yeah.
Well, because at that point, when there's only 11 contestants left, it's top 10. You got to bring your A game.
Absolutely.
But several people really did. Ben. Team Anthony, all Team Anthony, so that's why we're sporting our bandanas in honor of Jamie's team.
Yeah, guys,
there.
so what does everyone think of Rob's makeup?
Yeah, so Rob, who switched places with Ben. So they've just switched now, so it's fine. It's on purpose. He had the Python Bridge.
Yes.
In Amsterdam. This one I loved. He was so worried the whole time.
I know.
No, I think
that's another.
Great.
We were talking about how you know if you're safe if they don't spend a lot of time. If you are on there going, I think I'm gonna go home. I think I'm gonna go home. Yeah. You're gonna be top look. That's another thing that we have found out this far this season.
I really like this makeup because it reminds me of like a Miyazaki character coming to life. That was the first thing I thought of. It was like if Miyazaki made a film about, you know, trolls that were turning into kids and they were just having fun. I don't know. It was just, such a weird concept that like, especially how like it's so cute, but it's not cute. That's what I thought of.
It reminds me of like old Japanese folklore of you see a pretty woman from behind, you swim up to her, and then she turns around, grabs you, and drowns you.
Yeah.
I
didn't think about
Is that a thing?
Yeah. That's a thing.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's why I love it, because it was just like totally like just folklore troll. I don't know. I like the story.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I just like it was just fun.
I really liked her too. confused when they were doing the close-up on this when V was like, it looks like a caricature drawing from the boardwalk. I couldn't tell if she was like angry and didn't like it or if she meant that as a compliment.
A lot of the things she says, I don't know if it's good or bad. I just know it's emphatic.
You just know she has a lot of feelings.
She means whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That is a sculpture.
You made that.
You made that. Yes.
So Kelly had the tower bridge. This I thought conceptually
So
was
awesome.
incredible. I loved this one.
I felt the pain in her makeup in this one. Just the pain and the sadness. I thought it was awesome.
The story was so sad.
But it was so good, though. No?
The
Just me?
mother who longs for
No, I mean,
the
just
baby
like
that's lost.
No, I mean a lot of European tall tales and things like that are like that.
Yeah.
Like it kind of reminded me. I mean, not like on the same thing, but like there's a German story about like a mother who would take away like her children's fingernails because they bite them, so they would just be like fingernail-less children.
Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know.
Gruesome.
I don't know if that's worse than the swimming up behind a beautiful lady in Japan and getting your soul sucked out of you.
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, that's the common theme of everything.
That's so true.
But her model, Nayeli, is she sells the makeup.
She really does.
She tells the story through her movement. Like if you watch when you're watching the episode and you watch her movement, she just gives it out, you know.
Yeah.
I love seeing the model's interpretation. That's why I think this episode, it's one of my favorites because they have that element of having Doug Jones, even if it wasn't, I wish he would have had more time to actually get to talk to you guys and figure out the full concept and really flesh out the character to really, really bring it to life. That's more of a reflection of what you were going for.
Yeah.
I think altogether we had maybe 2 minutes with him.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
That's a little bit.
If that.
I thought you were going to say like 10.
That was actually going to be my question. I was like, how long did you actually get to...
5 seconds.
Yeah.
Then again, my time relation is really skewed when it comes to Face Off. 10 hours looks like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We're also in the middle of application at this point. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
ahead.
So you're like, sure.
Say it. Get it over with.
Doug, no problem. I'm not like in the middle of something here, like trying desperately to get this done before I have to show this on a stage and potentially go
And
home.
then with you immediately after, okay, don't do that.
Who said I said that?
That was great, Doug, but
say
ignore
I said
everything you said.
I didn't.
Did you?
No, I didn't say anything.
No, you know.
Yeah.
All right, next makeup, guys. We should probably talk about that.
I like the makeup.
I do too, and I agree that
I'm just saying because he didn't know the full character. He was given a lot of bird-like things. So you say keep.
That's
a
my
little
fault.
bit,
I
but
gave him
no
way too
more.
much bird.
That's
I want that on a shirt.
yes, but Kelly's makeup, Nayeli really sold it. And once again, this goes back to like if they focus a lot on you when you're like having problems.
Yeah, you're gonna be safe.
Yeah, it's like
Every
Kelly
single time.
was talking a lot about how like her paint job just was not working out, and then she was top looks.
I know. So I'm like, what?
all right. So we figured out the formula. But we're very excited because the winner this week was Jamie.
I'm clapping for
Very,
myself.
very well-deserved win
Thanks.
as well. I absolutely loved this one, the Dragon Bridge at the Monkey Forest Sanctuary in Bali. I just think this one is one of my favorites, I think, from the season.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this episode had one of my favorites and one of my least favorites. This
I
episode had a lot. It had a lot to offer. I like it.
Going through some stuff there.
I loved the sculpture on this. I felt like they didn't talk enough about the sculpture because I mean, like V was like, "Oh, it's a beautiful paint job," and I wanted to be like, "But it's such a beautiful sculpture." It was just so incredibly detailed and clean. But also, once again, going back to that whole thing that the judges are always harping on of like there is some basis in human anatomy. Like this, it looks like it is his face. It does not look at all like he's wearing a mask. He looks like just like ancient Asian Groot. And it's
Wow. She went there.
beautiful.
okay.
I love it.
I love it.
They also pointed out her wood technique.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
which
what I was
is
going to talk about.
Risky and tricky.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Because you can go really bad with that one. No, you can't. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, doing the sculpt, that was a big thing. It's because you see a bunch of tree creatures all the time.
Right.
So figuring out how to make it different and make it work and make it, the judges either going to hate it or love it. That's why I was like saying, I saw all the top looks and the bottom looks, and I actually thought that Rob was going to be a top look. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm totally going to be on the bottom. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go home. I never said it, but yeah, and I mean.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. But but Hoyt, my model, Hoyt Fuller, is actually he went through a lot in that one. So, going through all the application and putting all that stuff on. And the branches hitting him every once in a while. And moss falling off of him on stage.
Would he work with you again, or did you burn the bridge?
Wow. Where's the
How long have you been waiting for that one? This whole time?
3 hours.
I think it was in The Perfect Thing when Mr. Westmore came in and he was like, I'm gonna troll on over there or something. I was like, who gave him these jokes today?
Some intern was like, do that right now.
Mr. Westmore has 7 comedy writers.
You say it so convincing, we believe you. We all stopped.
Believe all of your stories. You're like, ancient tradition says
think
that
after-
every Westmore gets 7.
I was like, God, you should fire all of them.
I think after about episode 2, I started rolling my eyes every time he came in. After he said his little jab, like, oh, God. Good one. Well,
I love it though.
Camera
It's
not on
dad
here.
jokes, and it's
It is
perfect.
very much
Because it's
dad
hosted
jokes.
by Mackenzie, so
yeah.
it's like, hey, Dad, come in and tell some dad jokes. And also, you're extremely talented. Give some.
he knows
insight
that
as
he
well.
knows they're cheesy. I know he
Yeah.
knows that.
What's funny is he is the he walks in and you're like, oh, Dad's here. Like everybody has that. Like the moment he walks in, he's like the dad of the shop. So it's weird. It's just because you know him from watching the show, and then you're like, I know him. That guy's talking to me.
Was that like weird for you guys coming onto the show, having like already had several seasons of the show, which I'm sure you guys watched? I found that most of the makeup artists I've talked to who are on Face Up were also like fans of the show, or at least genuinely interested in the show before they were on it. So what was it like coming into that environment, like you were saying with like Michael Westmore?
It's like first time encountering everything. It's a little like, wow, I'm really here. But then you're like, oh my God, I have to do this in a day.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of that like stars in your eyes
That's what I was
goes
gonna
away
say.
really
The
fast.
sparkle wears off.
Yeah.
It was a little shocking when he first came in. It was like, okay, this is real. He's actually here to critique my work.
Yeah.
And it immediately became a goal of mine anyway. I'm sure many people shared this with me, was to have something prepared for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was
gotcha.
goal number 1.
Yeah.
To have something to at least sort of satiate him. That was my objective.
And I imagine that, like, like what you were saying with stars in your eyes, but then as you get to the middle of the season, you're like, all right, Dad, get over here. I'm going to work. But that's how it always happens in all the Face-Off seasons. Towards the end, they're just like, okay.
I feel like Mr. Westmore
Crazy
is to
smile.
Face Off what Lorne Michaels is to SNL. That everyone says the same thing. That they say, you know of this famous person that you're inspired by, and then you go on the show and you're just like, hey, what up? Funny dad joke.
Yeah, I don't know. You feel close to him right away.
Yeah.
And but he lets you feel close to him, if that makes sense. Like he does not like, get out of here, kid. Like it's just, it's just, oh, okay, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know.
Or
It's
oh,
always-
you need some work.
He listens, and that's what's important.
It's always nice to hear that someone that you see being personable is actually personable in real life. So
Yeah.
that's good to know that we all like him, and we should.
Yeah.
So
I think he prefers Mike Westmore too, by the way. His son's name is Michael. I believe that's the
Oh.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. I'm just clearing the air here. If they're listening, which are, I don't know.
They could be.
Yeah,
Tell you
Mackenzie does follow me on Twitter, guys.
Me
so.
too.
He tell you that at brunch?
It's like, you're really close. You're like, he said, call me Mike, so I don't know if you quite there, Adam.
It's like I'm staying at a summer home.
No, I'm not gonna. No.
I feel like you're trying real hard to hold something back, and I think
say
it's
his
something I
mom
want
was
to hear.
there.
I don't.
The brunch.
What?
Never mind.
I got nothing. I don't have anything to rebuttal.
I thought that was going to be better than it was. I'll be honest. We love you, Logan. We're so glad that you came here, too.
Thank
from
you.
Salt Lake City. Did you fly here yourself? You're a licensed pilot.
Word.
I did.
You flew yourself here?
No, I didn't. Passenger.
I thought that was cool that you're a licensed pilot and you sail to. You do a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And production designer. You work with
some of that, yeah, for my brother.
Yeah, for your brother's company. That's really cool. That's what is it? Red
Coral.
Red Coral Crew. Yep.
Yep.
Knew it.
That's cool. That's very cool. He'll appreciate that.
So shout out to them as well. Well, I just want to thank you guys so much for being here, and it's great to see you guys again. And I want to say a huge thank you to everybody for listening, watching, checking us out each week. Be sure if you have not subscribed.
We have to talk about this.
Real quick, talking about how amazing all of our fans are. We have one amazing person who follows us on Twitter.
It's at Lee _Neely.
Lee Neely. You are our favorite. You win just hands down.
Life.
Because you make us things like this that make us feel very special.
I'm sorry.
And super unhappy.
I love my Spider-Woman costume. I am. Yeah,
love you like a web.
I know. I was like, at first I thought it was a stick, and I was like, what am I doing? I was like, oh. Go.
I like it. You're the only one who has an actual superpower.
Hey, yeah.
I really love my Thor costume, but the side part.
Your Thor hair is pretty fantastic.
Lori knows that you love wigs.
Yes.
So, thank you to everybody who follows us on Twitter. If you're going to tweet us, please use the hashtag ABTVFaceOff. We love hearing from you guys. Be sure to check us out. Subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzz TV, and find us on iTunes and SoundCloud as well. You can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan.
You can find me on Twitter, Aaron, at _AAMO Music.
So close.
Or on Instagram at AAMO Music.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at atorres890. I was rooting for you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Emma Fyffe and guests. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where we can find you on the internet, and also some things you guys might be doing this weekend?
You can find me at Logan Laddie on both Twitter and Instagram. And you can find us all at Walker Stalker Con Chicago.
Except
for
Not that one. No.
All of us except her.
No, actually, this weekend at Walker Stalker Con in Chicago will be Anthony, Logan, me, Regina,
Anthony
Ben.
Kozar.
Anthony Kozar, Ben, and Rob. Yes.
And not Jamie.
The whole lot. And I think some past face-off contestants are also appearing. We're gonna have a panel on Sunday.
Wasn't Dina there?
Awesome.
I think Dina, yeah,
And Scott's gonna be there too.
and Scott.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, you can find me at
You don't even know.
at
Colin Aaron.
a Civic Dilemma on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me at JRayLee on Instagram and Twitter. And at Disneyland on Sunday.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.